SVC மற்றும் ஆதித்யாரம் மூவிஸ் தயாரிப்பில் ஷங்கர் இயக்கத்தில் ராம்சரண் நடிக்கும் கேம் சேஞ்சர் ஜனவரி 10 முதல் உலகமெங்கும்.
MadRabbit, India's finest audio wearable brand, starting at 999.
Like in the 17 years, you might have written stories to Amitabh sir. Do you ever thought to release it as a books?
Making a short film or making it into a book is definitely a good idea. I think I should take up that thought. It's a good idea you're giving me.
You usually ask music director to produce music before you go on the floor for the shoot, or the tracks or entire music comes later?
Music is one thing that you do before you shoot, because you cannot shoot a song without a song. So the whole meter of the Indian film narrative was telling a story, stop, enjoy a song. Telling a story, stop, enjoy a song. That you remember of that particular film, then it will be mostly the song you will remember. That was the take-home emotion that Indian cinema offered. So I think the role of the song is gone, but the role of the song is a huge thing in the promotion of a film. But the emotions will come through with the song. Now that kind of storytelling is changing. Whereas during the earlier period when Ilayaraja was there, or when harmonium and you could compose, you had an entire tune, and while the tune was coming out, the lyric writer was writing, and it was a jam, and the song was finished in like 2 hours time. One of the biggest changes that has happened in your generation is that you don't listen to music together. You don't have a stereo system in your house. You only listen to headphones. So you are singularly listening to music, but not collectively. And when you collectively listen to the music, excitement is the thing. That's why live shows are so exciting. Cinema is like live show.
We get to see whenever we get to see a Rajiv Menon movie.
Sir, you wrote good things, and like in the 17 years, you might have written stories to Amitabh sir, MS Lakshmi, Shubhalakshmi. Do you ever thought to release it as a books, because you did it and you are not making it as films? Maybe you thought your work can be seen as a books.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting thought. I've not done it because most of my stuff was written with the idea of making into films. So, but the thought, as you said, and the characters, if they don't reach the screen, it's easiest to write as a book. Writing is difficult, but it's closer to pure art. Meaning, if you have a story, you can write it, and it doesn't cost that much to write a book when compared to making a film. And the problem with films today is that whatever you do, however small you make a film, you want to get that film into the theaters in Tamil Nadu, you got to spend close to 2.5 crores promoting it. So if you make a film for 1 crore also, you need to spend 2.5 crores. Even if you make a film for 10 crores, you need to spend that 2 crores in promotions. Otherwise, nobody will come to the theater. And then the big films are promoting at 20 crores and 15 crores, and in Pushpa, the number becomes much higher. So film has become something which is very big, mass-driven kind of a thing. So storytelling in that sense, making a short film or making it into a book is definitely a good idea. I think I should take up that thought. It's a good idea you're giving me.
Thanks.
At least script books இருக்கும்ல சார், அது books launch பண்ணும்.
Yeah, it's possible. But I never thought of writing a novel, but now he's got my mind thinking.
Sir, music has always been part of your films. So you usually ask music director to produce music before you go on the floor for the shoot, or the tracks or entire music comes later? How is the process with music director? Can you explain?
This is a very important question, because actually music is one thing that you do before you shoot, because you cannot shoot a song without a song. So when you create a song, for the song to work in the film, you need to have a script, and there are spoken portions in the script, and then there is a singing portion in the script. So if you look at modern cinema, the number of songs are becoming less and less. So the whole meter of the Indian film narrative was telling a story, stop, enjoy a song. Telling a story, stop, enjoy a song. Telling a story. So it was a kind of narrative of interruptions. But the interruption had to become so beautiful. It is for the interruptions that you came back and watched it. The film sort of lived in your mind for a few dialogues, but more in terms of the songs. So if you have a memory of a good commercial film and you look at that film and say, what is that you remember of that particular film, then it will be mostly the song you will remember. That was the take home emotion that Indian cinema offered. But now it's storytelling, and I think people are watching a lot of OTT and internet and international thing, that the international sensibilities have come. So the number of songs when the first talkies were there was like 15 songs and 20 songs has come down. And 6 songs were the product of the cassettes, 3 songs on this side and 3 songs and a CD. But if you're just selling one song to promote a film, you just need one song. So I think the role of the song is gone, but the role of the song is a huge thing in the promotion of a film. And it's there in the Western cinema also. And you can see that one of the franchises which always had one song, which was very important for the franchise, was James Bond. They always had a song. And which is the top female singer who is going to sing it was discussed 6 to 8 months before the release of the film, and you could hear it. So that was purely a performance, promotional exercise. It would just come in the end and thing. That's not the way Indian cinema was. I feel dialogues would move the story, but the emotions will come through with the song. Now that kind of storytelling is changing. So I think the role of songs are changing in films. Whereas during the earlier period when Ilayaraja was there, or when harmonium and you could compose, you had an entire tune, and while the tune was coming out, the lyric writer was writing, and it was a jam, and the song was finished in like 2 hours time. Then during the Rahman phase, he created a bed and he created a kind of a thing, and that tune was edited and the lyrics were fitted into that. So the way songs are created keeps on changing, So when so you find that when Rahman comes in, he starts using a ghatam in Yen Veetu Thottathil, or you find different kind of instruments coming in and the texture of the sound changing. And that means that you just don't want to just hear a song, but you want to enjoy the audio texture of it. And that's possible also because CD has come in, you've got headphones and things like that. So one of the biggest changes that has happened in your generation is that you don't listen to music together. You don't have a stereo system in your house. You only listen to headphones. So you are singularly listening to music, but not collectively. And when you collectively listen to the music, excitement is the thing. That's why live shows are so exciting. Cinema is like live show. So when the song comes, yeah, people scream and they jump and dance. It gives you that Tiruvida feeling. So when the story becomes a celebration, the song kicks in now.
I just wanted to ask a question that with the rise of new video AI models, how will the future of digital landscape and filmmaking, because the entry barrier has come really low. So how does film industry is going to look like in next 5 years with the rise of AI? Because a lot of production houses will be impacted and, will inculcate a lot of AI in the filmmaking as well. So how does that landscape look like in next 5 years and what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think AI is a huge thing because it's, I saw a commercial completely conceived and created in AI for Adidas, and it's such a spectacular production and it looks so good. The design, everything was done for the footwear till the execution was done. And that's where it's going. And I think a certain amount of AI as a tool is definitely going to be there. But I think like the last question I said, new is what will drive your creativity. What AI does is that it takes what is present right now in the world and just tells you how you can get that with this existing knowledge. It doesn't tell you or doesn't feel for you. It takes that. So if you're saying that there is a landscape, it has understood that the landscape has foreground, middle ground, and background. And it understands that you can probably have a fort or a distant sea or something as a background. And then the foreground will be this. And it'll help you construct that. And I think in that process, it's going to get more and more thing. It's going to get used more and more in things like comic books and things which are what I could call low-end visualization work, which get faster and more simplified. It's like the question you're asking is a bit like this. If you went in the 1980s to advertising agency, you would see around at least half the agency was a studio, where there would be artists who take pictures, they would cut it, they would put rubber solution, stick it, they would have a letterpress where words were, and you would put it and then make an artwork, and then that artwork was photographed, and that was sent for printing. Today, it's unthinkable that people actually sat and stuck and, did all this artwork physically when Photoshop has come in. So a lot of people who were very good at cutting and sticking and doing that, just lost their jobs. And then before every manager's thing, there would be a stenographer. The manager had a stenographer. And the stenographer was invariably somebody who could write in shorthand and think, now there are no typists in our offices. Everybody types. We all don't know spellings. We use spell check. So has the language changed because of spell check, or has the need to write disappeared? So if you see AI as an enabling tool, as not as a threatening tool, it's just the same way that the studio artists were made irrelevant because of Photoshop, which you use so regularly, and the same thing extends for how stenographers lost their job after Microsoft Word came in and autocorrect came in. So I would think there will be a new way of shooting, and you will concentrate on new things like emotions. And the standard photographer is already in peril. I mean, digital photography means that you don't really need to know enough about measuring lights to get pictures. You'll get pictures. And the tragedy is, and the opportunity are both there. When we were starting in cinematography in the 80s, probably there were around 5 to 10,000 people who took pictures in Chennai. I mean, press photographers, 1,500, aspiring amateurs, another thing, and then few professional photographers. I mean, you're dealing with, your competition base was 6 to 7,000 people because that many cameras only were there. Right now, at some 1.3 crores, there are close to 1.6 crore smartphones sold in the city. So everyone is taking pictures. So you are competing against 1.6 crore people. This is the reality. And competition creates some better things. You take, for example, Test cricket. You tell me who was a great fielder in Test cricket in the 1980s. Kapil Dev, he was amazing athlete. But rest of them, it was very normal that they would drop catches. It was very normal that the spin bowlers couldn't bat. But T20 cricket meant that everybody's fielding went up. And if Ashwin, who just retired, had scored 6 centuries. Ravindra Jadeja has saved us in so many cases. He's probably the world's best fielder. This is highly unlikely it would have happened. So progress, the tragedy is that there's hardly any test team today who can play 5 days. Test matches are getting over in 2 or 3 days. but the tests have become far more exciting, and cricket has become more exciting. Fielding has become better. The slower ball was never used in things. So new things will come in. So just be prepared for what's new and embrace it rather than being scared about it.
So would it be right to say that it's an accumulation of many things, culmination of many things that we get to see whenever we get to see a Rajiv Menon movie?
I don't know whether it's in my movie, but I subject my students to a lot of my polymathic ideas of looking at a something from many directions. You know, I think it's very important to do that, because ultimately people go to the movies not because the lens is good or anything of that sort. They go because they want an emotional experience. And that's how, you know, you kind of connect with a Korean film, or you connect with an Iranian film, or to places that you have never visited, but you cry for those films, you know. And even in an imaginary place like Avatar, you can feel emotionally connected with that. And that emotional connect is so important.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you for your time. ஏற்கனவே சொன்ன மாதிரி it means a lot, sir. Thank you. Keep inspiring.
Thank you, Amadin, and thank you everybody for coming for this SS Music Show. Thank you, SS Music, and well, enjoy cinema, live cinema, breathe cinema. We are lucky to be in cinema. Thank you.
SVC மற்றும் ஆதித்யாரம் மூவிஸ் தயாரிப்பில் ஷங்கர் இயக்கத்தில் ராம்சரண் நடிக்கும் கேம் சேஞ்சர் ஜனவரி 10 முதல் உலகமெங்கும்.
MadRabbit, India's finest audio wearable brand, starting at 999.